I've got a list of all the new MCU content releasing this year, and I'm ready to rank them by my excitement. Let's discuss. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, then my name is Jay, welcome on in. In this video, as I said in the intro, I'm going to be ranking the 8 MCU properties that are releasing in 2026 by my personal excitement levels. This is my first ranking video, so quick disclosure that obviously this is just my opinion. My list is not the correct one, and I encourage you to share your own thoughts down below after you've finished the video. Without further ado though, let's get started with the ranking. Okay, so right off the bat at number 8 we have X-Men 97 Season 2, which releases sometime in mid-2026. I will be completely transparent with you all, I have not even seen the first season of this show, and I've also not seen the original run that came out in the 90s. I think that lasted for 5 seasons. A lot of people complain that in the MCU right now there's too much homework to complete, and I've never really had that problem. I've always been pretty consistent in watching all the new content that Marvel releases so that I've never fallen behind, but because I never watched I wasn't alive when the original show came out, and because this is such a follow-up to that original run and all the other animated shows that came out around that time, I just haven't had the time to sit down and commit to that show, because I feel it feels wrong to just start this show without having seen that original run. Maybe you can tell me I'm wrong, those of you that have seen it, but for me, I just think it's too much for me to commit to just to watch this show. I definitely will. I will watch that original run at some point, and I heard this new X-Men 97 reboot is really good and that they really do the X-Men justice, but at the moment this is the only thing that I've not seen, and the rare case where I've not seen a piece of Marvel content that has a new season coming out right now. I've seen everything else, but unfortunately I just haven't committed the time to sit down and watch this one. I don't want to spend too long on this, but I did want to acknowledge that there is a new season coming out this year, and even if I had seen the original run, I don't know how much my rankings would have changed, because I'm quite stoked for everything else that is on this list that I'm going to be ranking. But hey, feel free to let me know down in the comments below that I'm completely wrong and that I'm a terrible person because I've not seen this show. You're more than welcome to do that. Coming in at number 7 though is Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Season 2, a show which I have actually seen the first season of. This second season also releases sometime later in 2026. We don't have an exact date yet, and it is the only other animated show on this list, so a bit of a trend there with the animated shows being at the bottom. I was pleasantly surprised by that first season though. It went through several incarnations before the show was even released. I believe originally it was called Spider-Man Freshman Year or something along those lines, and it was kind of an animated depiction of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in his freshman year, as the title would suggest. That changed as time went on, and I wasn't originally interested in that initial concept, but I was happy with the show we got in the end and the way that it plays with the sacred timeline. We have that scene in the first season where we have Spider-Man walking into his apartment where Aunt May is, and obviously in Civil War she's talking to Tony Stark, but the way they flip that and that she's talking to Norman Osborn in this, I like the way that they just when you think you know what's happening, there's little differences that change up what we already know, and I'm hoping to see more of that in the second season. It also has a banging theme tune. When I first watched it, I couldn't get it out of my head. Really love that, and I also like that we have Nico Minoru in this show. I seen her in Runaways, the live action show, and she was one of my favorite characters. So to see her in this, that was a nice surprise. I did not know that she was going to be in it. What holds the show back though from being higher up on the list? It's an animated show that takes place in another universe that's probably not going to impact on the wider MCU. I love things that interconnect with each other, which the MCU is obviously quite good at, but I just don't think that this is going to impact anything going forward in the MCU. It's a nice little standalone show, and I'm enjoying where the story's going. I think the first season really got me excited for the second, but at this point it's lower down the list. Still excited, yeah, but it's not one of the ones that I'm really looking forward to. But I will certainly watch it when it comes out. Next up at number 6 is Wonder Man, which releases very soon, January 27th, which at the time of recording this video is actually next week, so not long to go for that. This one though, I'm very curious. I have deliberately, and sometimes they're unavoidable, but I've deliberately not watched any trailers whatsoever for the show. There's loads of teasers coming out, as they normally do, near the time of a show's release, but I really don't know much. I know that we have Simon Williams as the main character, who I believe is an actor in the show, and it's about a fictional movie within the show itself, or the marketing on the posters that I've seen, or is certainly pushing that narrative. I don't know for sure. I know that Ben Kingsley is coming back as Trevor Slattery, who I've always loved. People did not like him in Iron Man 3. I love that twist. I think he was a good presence in that film, and I obviously liked seeing him in Shang-Chi when they tried to give him that redemption arc that I don't really think he needed, but you know, for the general audience, yeah, okay, fair enough. They had to do something with that character so that people didn't hate him and all the stuff that he was going to appear in the future. But I really like him, so if he is a main part in the show, I think the show can only benefit from that. But yeah, I'm really curious about this show compared to something like the Fantastic Four last year, where they had so many trailers and teasers and interviews with the cast that were unavoidable to me, that I watched so much that going in I thought I knew what I was expecting in the movie, and sure enough it was pretty close to what I did think. But with this show, I really know nothing about it, and I think it's a good choice that I've made that. I want to go in with a total blank slate with no expectations and see what the show can deliver. What sucks though about the show is that they're releasing all the episodes at once. I do not like that release model. It's a bit sad that it seems to be getting the same treatment as Ironheart. I know that Ironheart had 3 and 3, so 2 separate drops of episodes across 2 weeks, but it's not a good look. I mean, you have a main character who's a person of color, and once again, they're dropping all the episodes more or less all at the same time. And to me, that kind of shows that they don't really have a lot of faith in the show. I think this might be the final show where it was created in that previous era of Marvel. I know that, well, I won't say what, but another thing coming up on this list was created in that new era where quality was prioritized over quantity. I think this might be the last one, because this has been on the shelf for a while, the same as Ironheart, to be honest. And certainly all the movies beginning with, well, just Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four that came out, they were the first 2 that were created in that last, or in the new era, again, of trying to push quality over just the number of things that are coming out. So, you know, this had to come out eventually. I hope, though, that even though they're releasing all those episodes at once, that the show is good, and I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens next week. Next up then, at number 5, we have Vision Quest, which again has no release date as with many things on this list, but we do know that it's coming sometime in late 2026. I do want to say that Vision Quest and the next 2 items on this list have really swapped about. They've all shifted in place on my ranking, and these 3 properties were the hardest to rank. So catch me on another day and Vision Quest might have swapped places. It might have gone higher up, or it might stay exactly where it is. However, talking about the show, I will say that WandaVision and Agatha All Along are 2 of my favourite things that have released in the last few years in this multiverse saga, and this show is meant to complete that trilogy. As I said earlier in the video, I do like things that interconnect with each other. I also said that the MCU is quite renowned for that, although in recent years they have fallen away with the amount of new characters and stories that they're doing. These shows, though, seem to all continue with each other. I know that that Vision Quest has a different showrunner. It's not Jack Schaefer, who did WandaVision and Agatha. It's Terry Matalas. I'm excited to see what he does. I know that Jack Schaefer was originally attached to the show, although she had to, I believe she stepped out because she was focusing on Agatha, so then Terry Matalas came in and gave the show, not an overhaul, but he certainly took over the creative power, and I just hope that because it's a different showrunner, we don't lose the cohesive story that I feel that these 3, or certainly the first 2 shows, had with each other. There was a lot of connectivity, so hopefully we don't lose that. But I'm also intrigued about this show. It's similar to Wonder Man, where, well, there's actually no trailers out for this show. There was one shown at Comic-Con, I believe. I might be wrong on that, or there was some sort of Disney press event where they showed a wee snippet of this show. But yeah, I don't know much. I know that, or I've heard, and I think it's confirmed, that James Spader is returning as Ultron. That's really cool. We've not seen him in a very long time. And Jarvis as well. Well, I forget the name. Was it? No, I'm forgetting the name of the actor, and I'm gonna kick myself. But Jarvis from Agent Carter. Is it Darcy James? Is that? I could have that totally wrong, and I do apologize to to the actor, if I do have that wrong. I think it's Darcy James. But no, I love Agent Carter, and for him to appear in this show, perhaps not as that character, but for having all these AIs or whatever appearing as sort of humanoid forms, it would be cool to see him again. He was in an episode of What If, just but in an animated form. So to see him again and get some acknowledgement of that past MCU network television era, I'm always a fan of. Just missing out on the top 3 then, we have the Punisher special presentation, which releases sometime in mid-2026 and is probably the item on this list that we really don't know anything about. I mean, there's been no trailers or teasers or posters, nothing like that. We do obviously know that Frank Castle's going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day, so I'm intrigued to see how this special is going to set up his appearance in that. And also go back to Daredevil Born Again and see, I mean, if you remember that post-credit scene, spoiler alert for season 1, but we saw him escape that prison cell, so I assume we're going to see his journey from there and see where he ends up in his next, or well, his first movie appearance, so that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, but I'm intrigued to get some more focus on Frank specifically. His first appearance in the original series of Daredevil, he appeared in it, but he wasn't the main focus. He then got his own show, which I really enjoyed, and on Disney Plus the other day. And you might have seen on my Twitter account that I got I tweeted that they were promoting that original show. So hopefully that means that we're going to get some sort of clues as to what's going to happen in this special soon, but we're just going to have to wait and see. I will say that Jon Bernthal was born to play Frank Castle, and his portrayal has always been a favourite of mine in the MCU. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he does with this character, and that we don't hopefully lose some of the violence. I mean, look, the MCU can maybe be a bit tame at times, and especially if he's going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day, I hope we don't lose the true core of what Frank Castle is as a character. We can't strip any of that back. We need to see everything that he's got to offer. Speaking of Daredevil Born Again, at number 3 on this list we have the second season of that show. It releases on the 4th of March, or at least that's when it'll start releasing. I'm not sure that the episodes will be released all at once. I'm sure they'll follow some sort of weekly release drop, whether that's 1 episode or 3 episodes or however inconsistent they want to be. But I had a similar reaction to season 1 of this show, as I think most people did. It was clearly a show of 2 eras where it was made and then they went, whoa, we need to totally rethink this, and I'm glad they did. And in the final product we did see some elements of the original incarnation where I don't know if everyone knows this, but the original plan was it was going to be a reboot where I think they were going to have obviously Daredevil and they were going to have Kingpin, but apart from that, none of the original characters were going to appear, and they really wanted to, I think the writers were actually told, don't bother watching that original Netflix run, you need to distance yourself from the show. And it's just like, why on earth would you do that? That was such a good show, and yes, it came out at a time where, well, I mean, it was released on Netflix and they hadn't confirmed whether that was canon or not. They were moving towards Disney Plus, and it's like they wanted to, which I hate, that they wanted to shift all the old content to this corner of the room and pretend, oh yeah, we made all that, but it's not really part of the MCU. Thank God they changed their mind. The first season had some big hits because of that, and by that I mean Foggy and his untimely, spoiler, demise was unwelcome. I know they had to do something to really get the viewers invested and make them shocked and go, oh wow, like, no one's safe here, what's going on in this show? But he's apparently back in season 2. I don't know whether that means that he's secretly alive, as people are theorizing. I know that I think Charlie Cox has denied that. Maybe it's just maybe he's just going to reappear in flashback sequences. I'm not really sure, but whatever happens, I'm just more excited for a more streamlined show where they have a plan and they execute it all the way through, and they don't have to insert these things potentially last minute. The one thing that is placing this above the Punisher special presentation and potentially also Vision Quest is the return of Jessica Jones. She is undoubtedly one of my favourite MCU characters. Kristen Ritter was born to play her. Her own show, season 1, is an easy 5 stars and probably cracks the top 5 of every MCU property that has ever released. If you've not seen Jessica Jones season 1, please watch it because it is outstanding television. But apparently we're going to get to see what she's been up to, you know. She then got season 2 and 3 of her own show, and we saw The Defenders, where all the heroes united as well. And the last thing to release with her in it was the 3rd season of her show. And it's kind of ambiguous because obviously all those shows got cancelled. We don't know where she's been since, but I'm excited. I really want to see where she's been and what she's been up to these past few years. My main hope, though, or one of my biggest hopes I should say, is that we're going to get to see all those Defenders come back in. I know that Mike Coulter said in the press recently that he's had talked with Marvel about returning. Maybe that means he already has. And then if we can get Danny Rand back as Iron Fist, or Finn Jones, I should say, as Danny Rand / Iron Fist, then you know we'll be cooking again. So hopefully that'll happen. But at the very least, I am very excited that Jessica Jones is going to be in this show, and I'm excited to see what she does. I hope she doesn't just have a minor appearance. I hope she is a main character all the way through. We'll see what happens. In second place then we have Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is the first of 2 movies on this list. I'm sure you know what the other one is, and we'll get to that. But Spider-Man, first of all, is going to release the 31st of July, and I was actually lucky enough to see this movie be filmed, or at least parts of it. If you don't know, they were filming here in Scotland, where I'm from, last summer, so maybe I'm a bit biased because of that. I don't think it's gonna, or it would have changed where I'm placing this in my ranking, because I'm already really excited for this movie, but I'm excited to see how those scenes that I saw be filmed are actually going to appear in the final version of the film. But yeah, I mean, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man movies never fail, especially the Tom Holland ones. There's a lot in this movie that I'm looking forward to. We obviously have Sadie Sink, who is undoubtedly one of my favourite actors right now, of course, of Stranger Things fame. I'm excited to see her in a different role. We don't even know who she's playing. There's rumours that she's playing a villain in this film. I don't know. If that's been leaked, please don't tell me. I want to be surprised. Maybe they'll reveal it in a trailer before that. As I mentioned before, though, we also have Punisher appearing in this movie. Apparently, Mark Ruffalo is going to appear as the Hulk as well. He's a character that we've not seen in quite a long time. I believe She-Hulk was his last appearance, and even then, it was never truly about him. So excited to see the role that he's going to play in this movie, and also how this new movie is going to distance itself from the 3 that came before. It's obviously the start of a new trilogy, I think, of Spider-Man movies, and if No Way Home was any indication, it's going to be a reset for the characters. So I don't know how the characters that were in those first 3 movies, Ned and MJ, are going to fit into this one, especially when they don't even know who Peter Parker or who Spider-Man actually is. So yeah, I don't know if they're even going to play a massive role. I think they're going to be in it, but to what extent, I'm not really sure. And also, this movie was meant to release after Doomsday, which is insane. I think Spider-Man No Way Home also suffered from a change in schedule, where I think it was meant to release after Multiverse of Madness, and then it ended up coming out before, so to shift the story. I'm wondering if they had to do that here, or if this is a sort of Ant-Man and the Wasp situation, where it's totally separate. That obviously came out between Infinity War and Endgame, and yet it played no part. It was a standalone story, let alone, or apart from that post-credit scene. So maybe that's a similar thing here. And I kind of hope it is. I want a standalone Spider-Man story. He's been in so many world-threatening adventures in the past, so hopefully this can just focus on him. But we'll see if that's possible with the amount of characters that they've got in this story. Scorpion's meant to be coming back as well, played by Michael Mando. So I don't know. We'll see. But, you know, I'm definitely excited to see what happens in this new Spider-Man movie. It's been a while since we've got one. At number 1, though, we of course have Avengers Doomsday, which comes out 18th of December. So a little while to go for that one. But, you know, if this isn't your number 1, then I feel like you must be kidding yourself a little bit. Okay, I can accept Spider-Man. If that was up there, a lot of people love Spider-Man movies, so, well, myself included, obviously. But, you know, this is Avengers Doomsday. It's going to be a cinematic event. Hopefully it'll pull those lost audiences back in, or in the general audiences that don't really dip into Marvel now. Everyone's already talking about this film, and I hope that it can deliver when it finally releases and really do well at the box office. We obviously have the controversial, to some, casting of Robert Downey Jr. as Doom. I'm making no assumptions at the moment. I'm gonna hopefully they don't reveal why it's Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom before the movie comes out. I want that to be revealed in the actual movie, and I think they've done well in the teasers that they've released so far not to show Doom, because I think if you hold off showing him for until the movie comes out, you're going to have so many intrigued people coming in. But if you see it in a trailer beforehand, they're going to go, oh, okay, right, okay. You know, I've seen it. You know, it's a risky thing to do if you're going to put them in something beforehand. You're counting on those bums in seats to really get the film doing well at the box office. So we'll see if they can manage it. It could be a total disaster, as many people are predicting, but I don't think my hope that it won't be is totally unwarranted. It's obviously being directed by the Russo brothers, and their track record in the MCU is very, very good. They obviously did Winter Soldier, amazing movie, Civil War, amazing movie, and of course the 2 Avengers movies to cap out the Infinity Saga, Infinity War, and Endgame. So, you know, I have hope that they can really deliver on this front as well. It's going to have a mishmash of characters from loads of different universes. We obviously saw in the latest and final teaser that the Fantastic Four are, I mean, we knew they were coming in, but to see them just interact with characters that we already have in our 616 universe, it's just really exciting. We had the teaser for the X-Men universe as well, which is unique on its own, that we actually we got to go to a different universe that we've not seen in such a long time and see how those characters are getting on. I think everyone's predicting that this is going to be the last appearance of those X-Men, or at least Secret Wars will be. I think my prediction is that they're not going to make it out of Doomsday, to be honest, and that going forward in the supposed mutant saga that comes in Phase 7, we're going to have a brand new X-Men team. But at the very least, I feel that the X-Men never got a proper goodbye. You can tell me that they did in Dark Phoenix or Days of Future Past or whatever, but you know, I don't think that was ever planned to be the end of those characters. That those films kind of faded out until they just kind of left, you know, many of them in a weird place. We had the New Mutants of all things to end the or that saga of movies. It was weird. So I hope that we can return to the characters that we know and give them that send off they deserve. And I hope that Halle Berry and Famke Janssen both appear as Storm and Jean Grey. Not just because I want to see them again, but look at that list. There's like 4 women on that chair reveal. Like, are they deliberately holding back, or have they just not cast, or have they not managed to get those people back? I don't know, but I hope that there's some surprises in the movie as well. I do always like a standalone story. This film is not going to be that, and I'm happy for that. While standalone stories can be good, I'm way more interested in something that can draw upon what's came before and is going to impact the overarching narrative going forward. And this film is definitely going to do that. As well as that, it's not just about watching the movie that intrigues me, it's the conversations that I'm going to have with other people when it comes out. As I said, hopefully everyone's going to be watching it, and between this and when Secret Wars comes out, it's a 12-month gap where everyone's going to be talking about everything that's happened and everything they think that is going to happen. So I think they've got a real shot here, and I just hope that they don't blow it. And there you go, that is my list, my overall ranking for the 8 MCU properties that are releasing in 2026. If you like the video, then let me know by hitting the like button, and definitely subscribe as well. Make sure you hit the bell so I'm notified when I post a new video. As I said at the beginning, please feel free to comment. Did you agree with the list? Did you disagree? Do you even watch most of Marvel anymore? Have you kind of fallen off, as many people have? Please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. That is all for now though, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.